Matt here, Flat Tire Garage, and it is Friday and it's our first snow day. And I've been working in the garage a little bit. It's a little cold, so I opened the garage door a couple times. Had an opportunity. I'm going to order some parts from UMI, and I reached out to Ramey, and he's traveling today. And he's like, "Hey, if you can get me what you need, I'll see if we can get it to you by Christmas." So I know they're busy. They did a great cyber sale. But then it got me thinking, like maybe you take an opportunity outside of the normal grinding and cutting and talk through uh, what some of the car folks can do to be successful. And to me, the Kotter change model always comes to mind. So I've been taught it in school, military school and business school through Georgia. The simple 8 steps continue to resonate throughout my career, and I've continued to use them. Afghanistan, I got put into a very difficult position, hopped on a plane to go initiate change immediately. And the idea of building a coalition, getting quick wins, reinforcing success, those things continued to pop up. And I had to pull up the 8 steps. And while I didn't remember all the specifics, I was able to quickly utilize some of the important steps. So I thought maybe, just maybe, I can talk in 20 minutes or less the 8 step Dr. John Kotter change model, and maybe it could have some positive effects on another guy that's like me, or some 20-year-old that wants to get started on cars. These basic principles, while they're a framework for business, um, designed for management positions, they're applicable in building cars. So come along for the ride. We're going to talk maybe 10 minutes or less, the Dr. John Kotter model for change and how it can apply to cars. Of the 8 steps, the first one is always the one I can remember, as silly as it sounds. So it's create a sense of urgency. Step one. Um, in life, in business, things have to move quickly. So specifically to me, and motivation on the four door and the convertible. So specifically with the convertible sitting here in Virginia, I have created a timeline for myself of having all the body work done and having that car a roller by the time we leave here. So we are set now to leave by the end of June. So our lease ends in July. That is my sense of urgency. I do not want to be taking parts of the car home, the quarters, the trunk extensions, the rocker panels, the fenders, the hood. I want everything bolted on. So that's why even today, with it snowing, it's too dangerous. I'm not going to drive into work today. Kids' school was canceled. I trust that process, but I need to work on the car, and I am going to get the quarters, at least one side, welded on this weekend, because I need to be driving that car home, and we're likely going to haul it home when we go home for spring break, which is even quicker. So I think spring break is early April. So my timeline for this car is realistically 4 months: January, February, March, early April. So I'm at 3.5 months, which is my sense of urgency to get this car done. Second step is form a guiding coalition. And it's not enough to try to do it yourself in anything that you do. I have for a very long time in my life and my career tried to do it myself, and I've only just recently started to open myself up. So my closest car friends are my wife's dad, Jerry. I talk to him, text him all the time when I need help. I've had a lot of friends pass away doing this. I have Royce was a gentleman that let me use his garage for 2 years when I built the Silver Chevelle, and he wouldn't take any money from me. So I left him a couple of gas cards, and he wasn't real pleased. He just wanted the company. I left the garage better than I found it every time. I picked up the nuts and bolts because he had a bad back, and he passed away when we were home. I've had good friends, Freddie, who have passed away, Clyde, who helped me build that engine. So I, for a long time, was hesitant to become friends with folks inside of the car community because a lot of them are older and they were passing away. I've only recently, in the last 2 or 3 years, opened up. So James with HH Wheels, I've met him at Daytona. They sold me the bumper for that Chevelle, I say 12 years ago, when Kylie was just itty bitty. And then 2 years ago at Daytona, they sold us more Mustang parts. And then, hey, they have a YouTube channel. Hey, Matt, you have a lot going on. You should start a YouTube channel. So that's slowly grown. I bought the convertible that's here in Virginia from Tim up in Pennsylvania. He is way an expert in the car community with his shop and the things that he does. And I call him if I have questions. The gentleman that in Maryland here that sold me the front clip for the Chevelle, he continues to send me pictures. He's also working on a 69 Chevelle. So I'm starting to again build that coalition. You cannot do it by yourself. You are going to need help. Ray me at UMI when I have questions about what I need to run for a suspension. So even at a small scope, I have 430 subscribers, but I'm starting to build a good coalition because we can't do this by ourselves. The third one, and one that the military probably uses the most, is the vision. So create a vision. What's the commander's intent? What do we want to get accomplished? And I try to do this with my family, and we normally tie it to an event like Power Tour or Daytona or Turkey Run. With the 4-door, it has become a drag and drive. Like that is our vision for that car. I want a car that I can do some drag race things to. I want to add a roll bar. I want to understand 4 and 5 point harnesses. I have watched Alex Taylor do her programming on her car. I do not want to go 8, 9, 10 seconds. I want to understand what's going on when they're doing the programming and they're finding fuel ratios and they're taking things away and they're adding transmission weights. I've never done it, and it's not enough for me to watch it on TV. So that's my vision. I want a drag and drive car that's safe, 4-door, heavy, has a reliable engine, 454, has a reliable transmission. We're going to do that 700 R4. We've learned some very valuable lessons in the last 6 months about transmission coolers and how to keep your transmission cool from burning up. Like that is our vision. For the convertible, it has always been we want to drive down to Panama City Beach and Biloxi, and we want to be on the beach in a convertible. The El Camino, I have always dreamt of opening a garage when I am older, and it's the front clip of all the cars are the same. I envision the El Camino, the convertible, the 2-door, and then the 4-door sedan. I envision that garage door opening and having all cars finished. That's kind of why I stick with the 69 kind of flavor on all of our trucks and the Novas. While we do branch outside of that, that's my vision for when I'm older. I can have the garage door open and then all 4 cars look the same. Number 4 is very closely tied to number 3, and number 3 is having a vision, very much the bumper sticker, drag and drive, Power Tour, have the cars open. But number 4 is continue to clearly communicate that vision, why it's important to you, how you intend to get there, having a message with your boys that care of equipment shall set the example to follow. While cheesy, they understand that when they see your tools on the ground, or if you come home and there's sockets that are out in the rain, that's just one small little thing that you're helping them understand the narrative and your vision moving forward. So number 4, very closely tied to number 3, it's clearly communicating and having a consistent vision. It's not helpful to family or friends if you continue to jump from a drag and drive, as an example, to autocross. My wife and I have had that discussion 6 months ago. Do I want to build Frenchie, the 4-door that we have? Do I want to build it for autocross, which is what UMI does, and we see mostly here in Pennsylvania, or the original intent to meet new friends, do the experience of the drag and drive. So even internally, we have to remember our own vision, what the direction is that we want for our builds, for our cars in particular, and stick with it. Number 5 is empowering others to act on the vision, getting other people to buy in on what we're trying to do. My wife has always been on board with what we're trying to do. Our friends that are outside of the car community, sometimes that's a little harder to try to convince somebody to go on a drag and drive with you in a car that's maybe doesn't have air conditioning or carpet or headliner. But You have to empower others to act. And the only way that I know how to do that now is through my boys and my daughter. Um, Andrew is 12. He has driven our truck in the backyard for the last 5 years, and he sometimes gets frustrated during football and stuff because he has to be reminded that he has other skills, that driving around can start the truck. If I had to go to the hospital, I've told him this 100 times, I trust him enough at 12 years old to start the truck, put it in gear, and to drive me to the hospital. And all I'm saying is that that is how I know how to empower others to act on my vision. We have a 78 C10 that we're going to put the fuel tank in. We bought a brand new fuel tank. It's Andrew's truck. He takes ownership of it. He has changed the tires on it. He has shine juiced it. He helps take care of that truck. He's only 12. Now that he sees himself going to school in 4 years in a truck, he loves the silver truck. So Austin, same thing. He's starting to understand a little bit why this is important and how things work. So that is how I know how to empower others to act on the vision. The only way I'm going to be able to have all these cars in 20 years as we get older is to have my family love it. We love to do things like Biloxi and Daytona, and I want them all to come along. That is the only way I know how. And I've done this all alone before. Military, very tight hold on a lot of what I do. The older I get, the more time I want to spend with my family, and it is much more enjoyable. Kylie came to Biloxi with us when she was like 8.5 super months prego, and it was the best Biloxi that we've had. So continue to empower others. 6, create quick wins. When I was working on the Silver Chevelle, we've been painted for 16 and a half years, so 17, 18 years ago. Every day was a grind on that thing. I did not give myself short wins or short goals. I did all the body work. I didn't do any of the filler. I didn't do some of the little things. That now looking back, as I'm doing the convertible in the garage right now, I'm going to finish up one of those sides. I'm going to weld the quarter on, and then I am going to body filler. I'm going to Bondo or a brand of body filler, that, and then have it done. I need to create short wins for myself, like I do with my checklists every day. So 3 things a day that I do, those are my short-term wins. They get me motivated for the next day. There's a clip out there of a Navy admiral talking about making your bed every morning to give yourself one successful thing that you've accomplished. And then when you come back at the end of the day, your bed's made. It's very much the same thing. I need some quick wins. I know the convertible is not going to get painted before I leave Virginia. We are going to hopefully leave here in March, early April for spring break. I don't even know the dates. With the body filler complete in primer, blocked and sanded, how perfect would that be? On the way home to Savannah, we can drop it off at the upholstery shop, and then the guy can put the convertible top on it before we paint it. And then we can, like, those are all the little short-term wins that I can already envision in my head. They're very important. Write them down on a list, create an Excel spreadsheet, whiteboard. Jerry, my wife's dad, taught me that when we were working on the Chevelle trying to get ready for Power Tour the first year. Cardboard, taped it up to the 4-post lift. I've seen it in all these YouTube videos. You have got to have a list because you have to see your gains and what you're winning. Number 7 is building on the change. And we've seen this before. It's you take your foot off of the gas, keep your hands on the wheel and the right foot on the gas pedal, because the closer you get, you're almost finished. I've seen cars sitting, I'm guilty of it. I have cars that get close. All I got to do is put a fuel tank in and start it, and it sits. The El Camino in El Paso, we grinded on that for 3 weeks nonstop. I put 6 months in, the new suspension, brand new QA1, CPP, everything underneath of it. And then we started it. I had dropped a bolt down the intake, got stuck between the valve, pulled the heads, didn't nick the valve, bought a new, I had damaged the push rod when I was trying to fix it back in Georgia, bought the push rod. All I have to do is put the heads back on, put the Phytech back on, and start it back up. I'm so close. I have now taken my foot off of the gas on the El Camino. So you have to continue to build on the successes that you've had. If it's paint, if it's primer, if it's buying new tools, you have to find ways to continue to move forward. The eighth step in the Kotter change model is institutionalizing the change or making it stick. And I really think this is probably the easiest step when you're in the car community of what we do. Once you get the car running and safe, you want to continue, we want to continue to make it better. And I don't think that ever goes away. Part of me thinks that even with like the Silver Chevelle, when Andrew gets older, maybe 16 or 17, 18, I hand him that car and that becomes his car. And then all the things that I didn't do to continue to make it better, to institutionalize all the efforts that we've put into it, the friends we have gained, the short-term wins, like maybe I pass it on. Like that's part of the institutionalizing the change. How do we make that stick? How do I allow the boys and my daughter, her son-in-law, all the things that are ours? How do we continue that tradition? The last thing I'll say is when I was at a school in Leavenworth, Kansas, um, there was an auction for a gentleman that passed away, and it was all Pontiac parts. And I'll try to find a picture here and put it in. And everybody was so excited about all this stuff that this old man had gathered, and he didn't have any family and nobody to take his stuff. That that day, I didn't buy anything. I was not interested. I couldn't believe how sad it was, and I've seen it more times than just that one time. But to have all that effort into building a collection of cars and then saving it for yourself, and then you pass away, then it's gone. My vision, my legacy will be hopefully this garage that we build on the Alabama side, that I can put the taxes and have everything taken care of, and my kids and my kids' kids and the kids' kids of the kids can come home and use these cars and not feel like they have to start over in building the coalition. So I just wanted to highlight that these are the Kotter's change model, how I've used them in the car community over my time in the military. But I think it's important to share some of these lessons. It's not all cut and dry. You're not doing it alone. There are other people just like me. I know there are. My neighbor right down the street, Jerry, texts me. He's working on his Mustang and needs help sometimes with his relay. The neighbor across the street has 2 Corvettes, super friendly, always willing to discuss fuel injectors and fuel pumps and type of fuel. Like that's the dialogue we have to have. What we can't do, I don't think we can do. And again, I am just a guy with 430 subscribers. What we can't do is we can't make fun of kids when they ask questions about jets in a carburetor and you make things light of it, like airplanes. Or he asks you, how do I change the points on a distributor? And you're like, points, just count to 2, bro, or kid. Like that is the easiest way for all of us to turn you off. And we'll just go to YouTube and we're going to watch 4 or 5 videos. And if the guys or gals are saying the same thing, then we're going to trust it enough to try it ourselves. Otherwise, we're just going to stop talking to the older folks, because you're not messaging things that were messaged to you in the 50s and the 60s. You had to learn a different way. We want to learn from you. And if you're not supportive, we'll simply find it another way. So continue to keep grinding. I'm going to go back into the garage. It's still snowing here. The boys are excited. I'm not lecturing. I just want to have open dialogue with folks who are way more experienced than me. And I can think of them right off the top of my head. Randy, every time I have a question. Steve, Jerry, you folks have the knowledge and the experience that we don't have, and we need it and we want it. So allow us to get better, get smarter, use some of the business models for program management as we develop our trade and we learn cars. We just want to get better too. So keep grinding, keep watching, like and subscribe. Every video won't be like this, but this just an opportunity here during a snowy day to talk about a model that you can use and leverage to get better. Have a great day. Get out there.